This is Phil Potempa. Welcome to another edition of Notoriety. Each week we bring you everything you want to make sure you mark on those calendars, what's not to be missed, all the events and activities happening in Northwest Indiana, Chicago, and beyond. And, of course, we couldn't be here without our generous underwriters, our sponsors, the folks that make it possible financially for us to be here these past 9 years and counting. Our friends at People's Bank, our additional friends, Andy and Sue Arnold, to make this broadcast possible, and over the past years, the Legacy Foundation and the Arts Commission, and most of all, you folks that are the listeners and the viewers as a part of your Notoriety broadcast. I'm your host, Phil Potempa. You might know me from my columns that appear in my flagship Post-Tribune newspaper Space, underneath the umbrella of Chicago Tribune Media, sometimes out in the suburbs, in the main run of edition as well, behind the man behind the byline to keep you informed of everything that is happening. Some of you are tuned into our traditional radio dials. We come to you from our original 1956 studios here in Hammond, Indiana for WJOB on our network. You might be streaming us and you found us through YouTube or somewhere along in your social media, and you thought that looks interesting. I think I want to join the conversation. We're so pleased that you are. If you have those added advantage of the cameras, if you're not just tuned into the radio dial at 12:30 a.m. and you're able to see what's happening in our studio, you can see that it looks a little bit mystical today because of our theater topic that we have and our guests that have joined us from the East. We have our guests that are here, and we are going to begin with, we have Michael Thomas, correct?
Yeah.
And also we have Cai
McClure.
Cai McClure. They are part of what is the Holdcraft Players production, correct? That is Faustus. Faustus is the mystical story and tale of what happens when sometimes you make a deal with a demon or one or two to see what magical powers you could possess and what unfolds in the events that surround that. This is the new production that's being produced by the company that is, again, our friends to the east in Michigan City, just a stone's throw away on the expressway. And that run is from what dates to what dates, gentlemen? Who's got that information in front of him here?
So it starts on January the 23rd, and it runs until February 1st, which will be a Sunday show at 2 p.m.
All right, so we're coming pretty close to it because we want to put a timestamp on this broadcast in case you're hearing it as a rebroadcast or getting streamed in your media. We come to you today on Tuesday. These interviews are being captured on January the 20th, 2026. And again, Faust is it's a very famous, well-known piece, and it has to do with a bit of mysticism. But I want to have somebody else first explain a little bit about that, and then we'll get the information out there about how you can get your tickets. So give us each of your capacities in this production, starting with Michael.
So my part is called A Magus, and I'm basically a magician type character who sort of hooks Faustus on this idea of, like, you know, maybe he should leave his life behind and dedicate himself to himself only.
Mm-hmm. We're joined today also by our co-host, Luke Miiller, and he knows of Michael's father, Tony Thomas, who's been a guest many times. Luke, don't you agree that if Michael's dad was here, he would say, "What are you doing wearing that jacket?" because of his T-shirt, which has all the information right there. I won't ask you to stand up because the planet's got you a little blocked there, but it has all the branding on there as well. So that's like a walking billboard. We love that. Your dad will be pleased that you've got that on today.
I also wore it just because the flame would make it warm.
Exactly. Yeah, that might be a nod to our producer about our studio temperatures. But I often said David Letterman in the Ed Sullivan Theater, he keeps it at a very, very chilly. I think it's just a little bit above 58 or so all the time because he wants it to be colder, or at least he did during his broadcast days. So great minds made me think alike in that degree. Cai, what about your capacity with this production?
I play friend whose name is Fabian in the show. I am Faust's best friend. Every Friday I will come to his house and bring him the journal or like the newspaper of the week. And we get into friendly debates and philosophical debates and just kind of bouncing ideas off of each other. And throughout the show, I come in and it's his son's birthday party, and I come in and I'm kind of helping run the party, talking with Faustus, and then throughout the show I'm trying to talk some sense into him as he's getting more and more attached to the Magus and with the idea of being
a cult, basically.
Almost. The Magus is he mentions he's the counterfeit of the devil. So it's not really a cult, but just so obsessed with himself and trying to get ultimate power through his own work.
Not cult. The occult.
Oh,
the occult, like
yes.
all the things we have on our table. If you're tuned in, you might see a crystal ball, you might see a sphere, you might see not quite a Ouija board, but at least it's a tabletop telling of the spirits long before Parker Brothers created the Ouija board here in a candle.
And the banana.
And that's just to get people guessing. The banana and...
it's
squeaky
sweet.
frog here as well.
It's amazing.
But I've seen various variations lyric opera has done. So this is again kind of its own spin, or is it true to the telling of the original ancient tale?
There are definitely differences that are obvious to those who have seen the original. Like there are less characters. There are only 5 in this version. And the story itself is probably just the same, just because of how timeless the story is of the Faustian bargain. There are, again, because of the small character amount, there are a lot of differences. Like, part of it is kind of up in the air on whether or not all this is really happening because of the devil. Whereas in the originals, it was like you definitely had devil characters. Mm-hmm. This one is more of like it starts out a bit sort of like, oh, this is kind of just joke, tongue-in-cheek type. But then it's like it ramps up in Act 2, and by the end... it still leaves you guessing on a few things.
Luke, go ahead and take over for a question.
Yeah, how familiar were you two with the original story before researching this, and then how was it getting to know more and more about the story and then adapting it to a new version?
I had heard the name Faustus and knew it was written by Christopher Marlowe back in the day, and I knew that this version was written by David Mamet, who obviously wrote a variety of well-known plays today, and it's been one of my dreams to do a David Mamet show, and so I hadn't read the story. I'd heard of Faustus before. So then, during the reading the script for the first time, it's, the script is a beast to kind of wrangle in, but getting into the story, and our wonderful director Joel, he has been sitting down doing table reads with us, helping us understand the story better. He's got a really, really deep and unique insight into the story. And so he's been helping a lot, and it's really easy to get the story down and really relate to the characters when he's helping us through that.
Yeah, that was what Joel definitely made an effort to say to us, was that in essence the show needs to be relatable because, like you said, the script is a beast, and let's just say the language is definitely not of the modern variety.
I was going to say that too. How difficult is it trying to adapt a script that's from 1592 into 2026?
David Mamet definitely didn't make it easy.
Yeah. But one of the good things about the script being so not wordy, but just kind of not in our normal tongue, is that you have to focus so hard on the lines, which really helps get into the character more. It is definitely the most in-depth I've gone with a character kind of study work before.
And especially with how, like, there are times where there'd be a word that we would miss. And it's not the effort of just saying, like, oh, what's the word, but thinking to the character, like, oh, okay, so what's my motivation with this line? So how do I get there?
And you have been in at least table reads or rehearsals for how long now? If we're in the middle right now of January, look, actually on the other side of it, January the 20th. Before the holidays or since beginning of the year?
Before the holidays.
Thanksgiving, around Thanksgiving
time. Yeah.
To our producer, Adriana, I have an old school panel that we can hold up. Which would be the easiest? Is it Luke to hold this up and you're going to zoom in on it? Luke, do you want to do that? And then we're going to give our quick commercial. If Tony Panic were doing his thing off camera, he would be doing a bit where he would have the lights flickering right now to fool us, but nope.
Good luck
He's
finding the light
asleep at the switch. There, she's gotten it. Perfect. And then go into your commercial, gentlemen. We're talking about what play?
We're talking about Faustus at the Holdcraft Players. If you're interested in buying tickets, you can go to www.yptcinc.com/tickets. It runs from January 23rd to February 1st. Friday, Saturday shows at 7 p.m. and the Sunday shows at 2 p.m.
Very good. And this is just a stone's throw. 94 Ghetto Friday on 421/Franklin. It's really one of the old high schools, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which high school?
The old Elston one.
So Michigan City Elston, that was a name I remember from from high school regionals and basketball games in the 1980s. Now it's been transformed. Holdcraft now is the Holdcraft Players. It's actually more of an arts center, correct? Where there's a space theater with how many seats, gentlemen?
Probably around
Less than 100 or more?
So the building itself can hold almost about 800 people.
Really?
But the one that we're using, we're putting it on the stage, so probably about 80 people.
It
So
turns
it
into
will
like a
be
black
intimate.
box. Yeah, it's like a black box kind of thing.
Yeah, there are a lot of times where we are like right up there with the audience.
So I know I brought all of this decor here to kind of make it look mysterious. Can you tell us of any fun props or anything that, well, you kind of hit the mark, because in the play they do reference this, or there is this, or there's that, or no, there's none of that, Fauntleroy. Why did you bring all that in?
I do a bit of magic in Act 1.
Really?
It's a process.
It's a process. Is there any type of dry ice, smoke, or theatrical haze?
We almost had flash paper.
Yeah.
But I was kind of nervous with all the costumes that we had.
Yeah, just trying to avoid the potential
No, that's
dangers
true.
and trying to
Yeah.
curse ourselves.
Something could be flammable.
We
That
don't want
might
any
be
real
it,
hellfire in this.
Yeah, this is...
I was mentioning to Luke when I was driving in here, again, the story of Faust is ages old. It's been kind of adapted many times, including Superman himself had an arch enemy, Felix Faustus, who was in prison and was sending away for these different magical books of the black arts, and was able to summon a portal with, in this case, 3 demons who he was able to release in the bargain that they would do his bidding for him, and he could have this powerful black magic. Of course, if you're a fan of DC Comics and you know the Superman legacy, Superman is powerless despite all of his power when it comes to the magical arts. That's something that he cannot handle, and so this is a fearsome foe in the DC universe. Had either of you heard of that, or is that too old school for you?
Yeah, Felix Faust, I definitely know. Well, because now I loved reading Dr. Fate comics, and he also goes up against him as well.
Oh, so is that a part of the DC universe?
I think Felix Faust definitely evolved from a Superman villain to more of like a Justice League type villain, or at least a Justice League Dark villain.
Okay. All right. So it's nice. The legacy continues and lives on. This is a cast of how many did you say has been adapted for?
This is 5 people.
Yes.
5 people. And again, that run is starting this weekend already.
Friday's opening night.
Are you ready or no? This will take a bit of magic just to get everything ready to go. Folks know their lines. Everybody knows they're blocking. Or no, you're in a pretty good place right now.
We're in a pretty good place. There's some polishing that needs to be done, as in every show.
Yeah, everybody definitely knows their lines.
Absolutely.
Did you want to give a shout out to your director here?
Yes, Joel Thompson has been wonderful throughout the entire production of this. It would be so easy to lose the words and kind of get lost in the script and not really... there's a lot of like big words in here, and it's really easy to just fall into like, oh, I've said big words. I sound smart now. But Joel Thompson has been great with helping us really mean the lines, and almost like Shakespeare, where you're not just saying the words, you're conveying what the words mean, and it makes it more readable to an audience.
Especially with character too. Like he basically he first let us decide what our characters would do, like how we would say these lines, and he would give us these spaces on stage where it's like the blocking that he decides. He's like, you go here, but in that area you can do whatever you feel your character would do. And I feel like it's a real refreshing thing, because it also gives you that time to focus on the lines too. Because it's like, if I don't have to remember what he said about my character, then I can focus more on lines, because it gives you that freedom. And if he does have an issue, he would just sort of bring it up casually, and he would make you think about it, because it's easier to have somebody understand it on your level than just tell them and expect them to follow.
Have either of you worked with this director, Joel, before? Yes or no?
I've seen him and stuff.
Yes or no?
I have not. No, this is my first time.
Luke, have you? That's a no. Luke has not.
What about you?
I have not ever crossed paths with him. A lot of times, your dad, Tony Thomas, is the one that's heading the production. Is your dad on the play selection committee? Is he helping pick the programming for Holdcraft?
No, he actually just pitched one to them a few weeks ago.
Because he jumps around. He can be found also at LaPorte Little Theater, Footlight Players, some of these other spaces.
We definitely jump around, yeah. Like LaPorte Little Theater, 4th Street Theater in Chesterton, Chicago Street in Valpo, recently I did one at Beatnik, so we're spreading out to him.
It's so great that we have such a theater tight-knit community throughout Northwest Indiana. You've heard all these overlapping names. All of them make the newspaper columns I do with the Post-Tribune. We get those listings out there. And it's up to you. If you want to have a voice or a platform to be a part of this show, again, with the sponsorship and the underwriting is for that purpose, to get the word out. We know there's not going to be a whole lot of money there. I say it over and over. The price of a ticket that you pay for any of these performances, and it can even be a performance for what we do at Theater at the Center or the Center of Visual and Performing Arts, that covers a mere fraction when you start to think of what it takes to keep the lights on, air conditioning, all the heating and cooling and things of that nature. Correct, Luke?
No, exactly, precisely. But I want to jump on a point real quick before we go, that this performance has historically had such profound impact on audiences. Going off Wikipedia here, that in the late 1500s and early 1600s, there were several accounts of the audiences actually believing they were seeing real devils.
And spirits on stage?
On
I sure
stage,
hope that happens during ours.
and causing great dread and disturbances.
Beware.
So much so that the lead actor of The Admiral's Men, which was one of the leading theater companies in the late 1500s, created a college devoted to charity after seeing devils on stage.
Just as a way to counteract the bad that's out there with the good, so there would be balance in the universe. That being said, I've often pointed out to Luke, backstage at our own Theater at the Center of Visual and Performing Arts in Munster, we have on perpetually, most of the time as it should be, a ghost light, a bulb in a cage on a stand. And ever seen it, or do you have it, or do you know what the purpose is, gentlemen, for that?
I've seen it.
I worked. I did a play where a ghost light played a huge part of the show. So
So you know that the impact is that to keep those friendly spirits in light and in warmth, to keep them at bay, because theater spaces and stages are hallowed ground, and there's so many different lore that's connected to it over the years, and especially, of course, we know the one Shakespearean that we never ever mentioned that title, because that will bring something that would be probably not be worse than just blinking lights during a performance.
Oh, you mean Macbeth?
well,
Luckily, we're not in a theater space, but sometimes it's
my
quite
stomach's starting to
theatrical
hurt
here,
all of a
right?
sudden.
Because
I took
our
my
producer's theatrical, correct? You've got your own, Adrian, your own experience, and about to have a lot more as she stars in the title role of The Frog and the Princess.
Oh,
a
congratulations.
1-week run. Yeah, that'll be
That's
coming
what
up
the
in
frog
May. She's royalty.
Yeah,
There's a
it all
little
comes
frog
together.
guy. Absolutely, it does. One last chance for that commercial for you to read your script here. And is it an affordable ticket?
Yes, I believe
so,
so.
yeah.
I'm going to guess $15 to $20, right? Something
somewhere
in
around
there.
there, yes.
Definitely cheaper than places in Chicago
And
stuff like that.
there's plenty of parking, so that's not a problem. Give us the dates, the name of the play, and also the times, please.
Yes, this is Faustus, getting put on by the Holdcraft Players in Michigan City, directed by Joel Thompson. The dates are the weekend of January the 23rd, and it runs until February the 1st. The Friday and Saturday performances are going to be at 7 p.m., and the Sunday performances at 2 p.m.
If I were to describe it in one word, I would say Faustus.
And
All right.
Indubitably.
And again, your dad probably wouldn't let us leave unless you're able to give a nod to some of the other things coming up this season. Do you have some of those titles, at least, for spring coming into summer?
In fact, there is one. The next show that is coming up is called Second Glances. It was written by a Michigan City native, and it is about how the old people ain't so bad after all.
Oh, okay.
Takes place in Michigan City, Indiana.
And it's directed
Really?
it's directed by famed Chicago director Steve Scott.
Steve Scott. Is this an original piece, then?
This is an original piece. This is the first ever production of it.
And where's this? When is this going to be?
This is going to be
Most likely
at a time
springtime.
In the spring?
probably in the spring and the summer.
All
time
right.
that I cannot remember.
Folks can go to this website, and they'll probably find out more, which is
www.yptcinc.com/tickets.
Now, is that just for the ticket purchasing? And Holdcraft itself has got to have an easier website than all of that, right?
Well, it's just yptcinc.com.
What is it? It's a Young
People's Theater
Company.
Incorporated, which is under the umbrella of that entity in that play space that is the Holdcraft Theater. Very good, gentlemen. We look forward to seeing this around the corner. And so, Luke, to do our due diligence, what have we got coming up this weekend at Theater at the Center for Visual and Performing Arts? Depending on when you're tuning in, if this is a rebroadcast, again, the timestamp that you're hearing this is on January the 20th on a Tuesday here. Coming up, Luke, what have you got?
So on Saturday we have that's January the 24th at 7:30. We have our ZZ Top tribute. That's going to be a ton of fun. They're the best, highly regarded ZZ Top in the country. We've got tickets available 219-836-3255, or you can go online at theateratthecenter.com.
And folks, if you are able to tune in and you have the advantage of the cameras in the studio, Adriana, Luke has been working for the last 4 weeks growing his long ZZ Top beard. Can you see how much has come in so far? You might have to add a Santa Claus beard to that as well.
Just put some sunglasses on him. You can't tell the difference.
And the sunglasses. Can anybody in the room name a ZZ Top song?
Sharp
Freebird.
Dressed Man.
Good. Wow, that was quick too. Very good. That's again. They've been around, and I believe there'll be something that's coming up in the Times. They themselves, as an entity, kind of reinvented themselves. And if it wasn't for this particular music channel that was introduced in the 1980s, they would never have gotten to their stardom because of their videos. What's the name of that music channel?
What is MTV?
What is MTV? Yeah, that was what really brought them claim to fame, even though they were midway into their career in 1983. And the reason that this tribute band is called, what's their name?
Eliminator. That's
is
one
because
of their
of
most
what?
famed albums.
That's correct. Very good. Well done. I think we've all learned something today. I'm your host, Phil Potempa. So glad to be a part of our conversation or discussion. We thank all the producers, everybody that's been a part of our conversation. Make sure you get your tickets right away for this upcoming production by Holdcraft Players. Theater at the Center, all those tickets available. We've just released on our website all the programming in the spring that'll get you all the way up until May of Mother's Day and a little bit beyond as well. So plan your ticket opportunities, www.theater, R-E in there, theateratthecenter.com. Take a look, do your homework, see what's coming up next. We'll be looking forward to seeing you in a theater seat soon. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, co-host Luke Miiller. Thank you off the camera to our friends, our producer Adriana, Tony Panic, also for stepping in and helping out, get everything ready for today's show. We wish you the best of wherever your day, evening, afternoon, morning may take you.